What's up, Ragin Nation? How's it going? This is Alex here, and you're watching a Ragin Ronin review. I got a review for you. Last night I watched The Martian, and The Martian is the latest film from director Ridley Scott. Ridley Scott is one of my favorite directors of all time, so therefore I was really looking forward to this. It also marks his return back to science fiction. And of course, Ridley Scott is most known for his science fiction works like Alien and Blade Runner, and before The Martian, Prometheus. And it is also a film that is in a genre that I'm starting to really fall in love with, and that is fact-based science fiction films that take place in space. Like, for example, Gravity and Interstellar. And now in 2015, we're getting The Martian. Now, The Martian is produced by Simon Kinberg and also based off a screenplay written by Drew Goddard, based off of the book of the same name written by Andy Weir. Now, this cast is an all-star cast. What we have here is Matt Damon as the Martian himself. We also have Jessica Chastain, Kristen Wiig, Jeff Daniels, Michael Pena, Sean Bean, Kate Mara, Sebastian Stan, Axel Hennie, Chiwetel Ejiofor, Mackenzie Davis, and also Donald Glover. And let me tell you, not only is this a very solid cast, but all the cast members, or rather all the characters, are very, very well written. Now, if you don't know what The Martian is about, there is a team of astronauts which are on Mars doing an expedition, and then a storm comes in and it kills one of their crew members. So they just take off in an emergency takeoff, and they're on their way back to Earth, leaving their buddy, played by Matt Damon, Mark Watney, left behind. But Mark Watney is still alive. So the big question is, do we risk the lives of these astronauts to go back to rescue him for just one guy, or do we leave him out there alone with so many days of life left based on how much food and resources he has? So that's what this movie's about. It's about a big rescue, and it's also about his story of survival. And that is what makes this film interesting. Now think of Robert Zemeckis' film Castaway with Tom Hanks. Tom Hanks is stuck in an island. Nobody knows he's there. Okay, so he can survive. He has an island. There's animals around. There's fish, and there's like a lot of shelter. There's things he can do to survive. Essentially, he can stay there for as long as he can. But now here's a different story. All right, it's a similar story rather, but Mark Watney, he only has so much days of life left, and so much food and so much resources, and he has a crew coming back to go get him, but the question is, can he make it? Can they communicate a plan to be able to get himself back home, as well as the crew members that are rescuing him? That is what this film is about, and let me tell you something, it is a very, very fun and engaging story. It's a story that where you really feel that it's all about this guy's survival. So therefore, I care about the character. I want to root for his survival. I want to see how he makes it happen. Okay, I want to see what does he have to do to I guess sustain his life for as long as possible, and also sustain it for as long as until the guys that are coming back from reach him. Now that's a lot of time, okay? I don't know if you guys know what the distance between Earth and Mars is, but it's quite a long time for travel. So therefore, he has a lot of time trying to figure out what he can do to survive. And that process within itself is the most interesting part about this film, because we're treated to a planet. You know, we're seeing a planet that we really don't know a whole lot about, except for what NASA gives us on Twitter from the Mars rover that's out there for the last couple of years. But anyways, we don't know anything about this planet, really. And we're spending a lot of our time on this planet that we know nothing about. So therefore, whatever he does to make it work is really, really cool. Okay, it's really, really fun to watch. Actually, it's almost like it's almost like a documentary or a reality show on how we can see this guy live on Mars. So that's what really makes this film so engaging. Now, just because this film is called The Martian, and just because Matt Damon plays the Martian and he's the main character, doesn't mean that the supporting cast don't do a whole lot. They actually do equal amount. Now we have three teams here, or essentially three character stories going on at once. We have the Martian story, which is Matt Damon on Mars. We also have the crew, which is on their way back to Earth, and then we have the guys over at NASA. And each one of these stories is equally as important, and not only are they equally as important, but they are very, very well written stories within themselves, because they're important, but we want to see how each one of them are connected in trying to make this rescue operation work. One can't work without the other. They have to work in synergy with each other, and that's what makes each one of these separate stories interesting. Everything that's going back home on Earth at NASA is really, really interesting. And whatever the guys over in the spaceship are doing is also something very, very interesting, because those are the guys that have to go rescue them, and they're faced with a dilemma. Do they go do it or not? They have to make it the executive decision, and it's good to see how that team dynamic works. So good on Ridley Scott for really, really balancing out these characters, and not only that, he makes the story fun. It is a very, very funny film. Even though this is a very, very serious situation, he puts a lot of fun into it, and a lot of that has to do with the fact that these characters are very, very human. Okay, these characters are not, they're not these boring science types or mathematicians. They're characters that have personalities that we can really connect with and relate to. They're very human characters, and that's what makes this script so great and this film so engaging. And I gotta say that this is a movie that is a must-see. It's a movie of courage, survival, of teamwork, of hope, and it's a pretty uplifting film. So you have to check it out. I gotta give it a 9.5 out of 10. Now that's a near perfect score. I really don't know what they could do to improve this movie. Now it could have been a perfect film, I guess, had they, I don't know, there's some parts of me that really feel like they're not on Mars. They're somewhere on Earth, because that's obviously where it was filmed. And sometimes when I'm looking around, I think of like where they filmed it, and that kind of took away the film from me just slightly. And then sometimes you see wind on flailing. You know, you see a lot of things flailing around because of wind, and I'm thinking this kind of feels like Earth. But you know what? With really well written dialogue and really, really hypnotic characters, like characters you really mesmerized with and really care about, it really distracts you from all of that. All right, it distracts you from the fact that this is a film, but you know what? Those things still exist. I mean, it is a movie, but they really, really still had a very solid story down. So 9.5 out of 10. I really enjoyed this film. I saw it in 3D, and I really enjoyed it in 3D because you get to see the depth of how far or how vast Mars is just from the 3D. It really creates for a three-dimensional environment, and I really enjoyed that about the film. This movie is funny, it's dramatic, it's intense, it's exciting, and it's almost like a character study of what a human can be like under these odds that are really, really against him. All right, so there you have it. This is one of the must-see films of the year. Once again, 9.5 out of 10, and you got to go check it out while it's on the big screen. So that's it. That's all I got to say in this video. And as always, if you enjoyed this review, hit the like button, subscribe to the YouTube channel, like me on Facebook, The Ragin Nation. Also follow me on Twitter at Ragin Nation. My name is Alex Hughes. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. Peace. And what I also love about this film is the supporting characters. For example, Charlotte Le Bon, Ben Kingsley, James Badge Dale,